So, I am a musician in my 30s, and surprisingly, it's great. And to be fair, it's nothing like everything is perfect, and I'm focused now mainly on drinking the most expensive green tea on my mansion's multiple balconies. More like stable nervous system, better songs, fewer stupid risky decisions. Great! But come on, let's talk about it honestly. From sold out halls to arguing with the algorithm. There was a time when I played in a band that sold out large concert halls. Big venues, big crowds, huge sound, and even bigger expectations. We had those magical nights where the lights go down and thousands of people are screaming even before you play a single note. And then we split. Not in a dramatic, throwing the guitars at each other way, just life. Different visions, solo careers, new projects beside the music, but also musical projects. And suddenly, I went from, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main stage, to, please algorithm, this is a good song, really. Times have changed. It's brutal, because here's the thing. The crowd didn't shadow ban me. People didn't suddenly decided that they hate my music. The system and our lives just changed. Back then, success was visible. Physically and sonically. Now you refresh analytics and try to decode that mysterious numbers like you were reading some ancient prophecy. And what's connected with prophecy? Expectations. The other obstacle was that the music I wanted to make solo was so different from my former band activity that people who were listening to our band's records just didn't get it. They expected something similar to the past albums. And I, as an artist, saw no reason to repeat the same pattern all over again. And I've got to say that building your career again after huge success is strange. You know you're capable of big things. You've seen it. You felt it. But you have to start from the scratch emotionally and literally. And there's ego involved, pride, fear, and the worst thought. Was that it? Was that my peak? Will I ever reach this point again? Because rebuilding yourself means smaller venues, smaller budgets, smaller immediate validation, but bigger awareness. And slowly, you reach something different than before. Not explosive success, but a stable position. And it becomes your new true identity. I hope that for good. And that stability hits different. It's quieter, but I think it's somehow even stronger. Why you're a better musician after 30. Here's something nobody tells you when you're 22. You're not finished yet. For a lot of people after 30, something shifts. You've had enough time to practice with no panic, fail without dying. Of course, if you have enough money and support from your close ones. And now you start to understand who you are outside the applause. When we are younger, we usually still want to prove something to the others. And what's even most important, to ourselves. After 30, all you want is usually just to express yourself in the most precise way. There's more space for practicing, and it's not because you have more time now, but because you waste less time trying to be someone else. Sometimes when we are younger, we try to be and do the things as our idols do, but at some point you have to refuse that feeling. You have more experience, so you know exactly what works for you and what's not. Which routine is good for you and which is slowing down your process. And you start asking yourself, what do I actually want to say? What kind of artist am I? What kind of human am I? All those questions finally start connecting. And that's when music becomes deeper. Maybe it's not that loud anymore because you've changed. You're more mature. You're not a rock star, but it feels more like your truly thing. The two types of albums I used to make. When I was younger, I tried to record 2 types of albums. Type 1, this will be big. High popularity potential, audience expectations considered, maybe even slightly calculated. Even on the stage when we were just jamming with the band. We suddenly stop and someone says, "No, let's try something different." It won't be an instant hit. It really kills the vibe. Type 2, I don't care what anyone thinks. Pure artistic expression, no compromise, no filter. Sounds like dream, right? And it's the rawest version of yourself. And here's the truth. Both approaches were wrong. The first one disconnects you from yourself. The second one disconnects you from the people. Art is a form of communication. If you only chase for popularity, you're there for a season and you disappear. People don't want you anymore or you just burn out. But if you only chase your self-expression, you isolate yourself. No one could understand you, beside yourself. You could only hope that someday, long after you will pass away, someone will discover your art and you will become one of the classics. Hardly ever happens nowadays. After 30, you realize that the magic is the tension between those 2 worlds, yourself and the audience. You don't ignore your audience and you don't obey them either. You build bridges. Sam Porter Bridges mentioned. I just finished Death Stranding 2. Norman Reedus, if you watch this, I love you. Writing deeper and slightly less dramatic songs. When you're young, every breakup feels like surviving the war. I have suffered beyond any human understanding. No one had felt it before. And in reality, that person just left. Now I'm more interested in new ones. Not just emotional ballads or powerful riffs and drops, but themes like, I don't know, being swallowed by a giant whale? Yes, metaphorically. Learning how to be alone with yourself, but not feeling lonely, which is exactly what I explore in my song. To be alone, but not so lonely. It's basically about the isolation that teaches you something. Silence that isn't empty. Solitude that doesn't hurt. If that sounds too mysterious and absurd, good. Come on, go check it out after this video. I promise there are no actual whales involved. Or are there? The older you get, the less you want fame. Here's the weirdest part of turning 30, being a musician. You don't want to be famous as much anymore. What you really want is to be undeniable. You don't want, wow, you're everywhere. You want, I understand exactly what you're doing. You want to be correct, patient, precise, respected. Fame is loud. Being understood is quiet. And to be honest, after 30, quiet feels addictive and comfortable. I don't want to make someone dancing in 2 seconds anymore. What I want is just 10 years of silence. And I want you to listen to my last album, of course. But with understanding. So yes, being a musician at your 30s is great. It's harder in some ways. The industry changes and it's worthless to fight back. Because you will always lose and gain some bad bruises. The algorithm doesn't care about your nostalgia. Of course, sometimes nostalgia becomes a new trend, but I meant your personal nostalgia. Your back sometimes hurts after a long rehearsal, but it's also easy to avoid. Working out and taking a proper rest, for example. But what's the most important? With every year, your art becomes sharper and your ego becomes smaller. Your identity becomes way clearer. And don't forget about the beginning of your sexy daddy/mommy era. And maybe that's all better than sold out halls. Or maybe it's just different. Are you building something up after a big chapter of your life ended? And if you are, share your thoughts in the comments. And welcome to the second act. It's less shiny, but it's real. And I think it's the only option in this sandbox we live in. See you guys. Bye.